Good evening. It's weird. We're just waiting for Ken to come on. Happy John Cena Saturdays. Well, Instagram is telling people to come on first. Thank you, Instagram. Thank you so much. What's up, Alexis Kingdom 18? Thank you, Ken, for the pinned comment. Not that I have a hard time trying to pin what is happening. Oh, man. Alright. There you go. Got it. Good evening, guys. Good evening. Pretty bad juju joining us. Sup,
Yes,
Ron?
sir. Good
evening, Ken.
bro. How'd you
Good
like my
evening.
new setup now, huh?
What's up? What's up? How has
You see any difference?
you got
No,
headphones? Is
no,
that
no.
your new
Look at
setup?
this, bro. Look at this gimmick. Well, not that. Freaking A, bro.
Which one? Which gimmick
The
are you talking
light,
about?
man. The light.
Oh, the ring light. You got a
Yeah,
ring
man. For
light?
the live. Bro, we have to be pro here, man. I could change the shit, bro. I could change the shit, dude.
Well, that's
Yeah.
cool. That's cool. Anyway, we gotta start off again. Everyone, thank you for joining us tonight on hashtag PWG Live. This is an IG live show with two Philippine wrestlers who are just trying to pass the time with coronavirus, and we've been having many different personalities on here. And tonight is no different, as we will be having 8-Bit Fiction on the program. They're actually joining us right now, but we'll get to them in around 3 minutes. Ken, how was your
As
Saturday?
stacked as always, but man, who is complaining? We wanted this. We chose this life, brother. This is what we wanted since April, since latter of March, and we're having it, bro. I just want to say hello to underscore Ron WWE. Hello. Hi. Hello, sir. Thank you. And yeah, man.
We're saying hello to a lot of people here right now, and thank you for joining us tonight on Saturday, on the eve of hashtag PW Homecoming being available tomorrow, May 31. That's what that pinned comment is for. Relive the biggest show in Philippine wrestling history, circa 2019, as PW Homecoming will be available starting tomorrow on streamsessions.live. So just visit the link, streamsessions.live, and you can get your tickets there. It will redirect you, and then watch it tomorrow starting at 3 p.m. So I'm very excited for that. How are you feeling about PW Homecoming being available
Oh
tomorrow?
man, just from the trailer itself. Well, not really trailer, but like from the sneak peek that we had, Crystal against Desi Dorada. And man, that match
Exactly.
alone made me want the Revo Nation to see the matches, the other matches in store for hashtag PW Homecoming. That's gonna be available 3 p.m. tomorrow, Sunday, May 31st, Philippine time. Damn, bro, I don't know. I don't know.
3 p.m. You well, right now we're just trying to butter everyone up. You know, we're gonna give them more content just to keep watching until we actually eventually get to hashtag PW Homecoming tomorrow. Tomorrow you have Zicky Dice at 11 a.m. And then we have also another pre-show for Homecoming, which is PBR Wrestling from Home with the beautiful one, Billy Swade. So that's going to be exciting at 2 p.m. And then at 3 p.m., it'll become available. And again, for people who want to get tickets, it's at streamsessions.live. So just go to that link. You can buy it there. It's just 500 pesos. Not really that big of a deal. If you guys have the extra money right now, please buy and then support Philippine wrestling and then watch Philippine wrestling safely from the
Comforts
from
of
your
your
home,
home, yeah.
basically. So yeah, we have a lot of we have a lot of our videos on YouTube and everything, but like actually seeing an entire show, our biggest show ever, is gonna be something exciting to watch. And you, everyone watching right now, or if you're gonna watch tomorrow, you'll get a taste of what Philippine wrestling actually is. So please do,
And
please
actually,
do.
that's for tomorrow. But for tonight, actually, a minute left, we have Moonshine from 8-Bit Fiction. And I'm excited for this. I just want to chill on a Saturday night, on a weekend. Finally, no more work. At least no day job yet. So, I don't know.
Yes. I'm very excited also. I'm very excited also for this talk with Moonshine. We're going to talk about mental health. We're going to talk about wrestling. She actually watches some of our PWR shows. She has watched PWR Homecoming. So I'm very excited to get her thoughts on that also. Hello to Dash Chisako for joining
Yo,
us.
Dash,
Thank you very much for joining us. Ken, it is 9 p.m. I'm going to have to politely ask you to step out of the live so that I can invite 8-Bit Fiction and Moonshine in. So is that okay,
absolutely.
brother?
I'll see you in a few. I'll be here moderating.
See you in a few for John Cena Saturdays, and we got to close this off anyway. So,
See you,
see you,
brother.
amigo. Right. Ken Warren is gone. Let me just extend an invite to 8-Bit Fiction. All right, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us again. We're waiting. Oh, there's no
Oh my
frog
god.
again.
Sorry, I
Hello.
just said yes.
No, it's all right. No, it's okay. It's a Instagram Live usually had like a prompt that
Okay.
loads before you join, but again, thank you for joining us, Moonshine from 8-Bit Fiction. Let me just introduce you to everyone. So everyone joining us is one third of 8-Bit Fiction. She is a registered psychologist and a teacher, and also her favorite book is Lord of the Rings. So everyone, please welcome Moonshine. Like I'm just gonna call you
Yeah,
Moonshine.
yeah,
We gotta
yeah.
keep
Call me
it.
Moonshine.
We gotta
Yeah.
keep it.
I'll call you Jake.
Thank you. Even though
Yeah.
we know each other's real names. So just to start it off, I guess we have to ask the question, how have you been doing right now during the whole coronavirus situation?
Um, okay. I mean, it's been weirdly
Did you
busy.
hear me?
Weirdly, because I still have a lot of work actually. I mean, you did say I'm a psychologist and I do practice, so I still see my clients. I
Hmm.
still do my psychologist things. And then I've been doing, it's only been the past, 6 weeks that I have showed my face as
Yeah.
8-Bit Fiction. So I've also been doing the content for 8-Bit Fiction. Yeah, that's been keeping me busy.
Yeah. Actually, we're gonna talk about that a little bit later, but I just wanted to talk about 8-bit fiction for a little bit. So you guys have been online for 10 years, as you mentioned in the first episode
Mhm.
of Moonrise, the series. Can you tell us a little bit about, can you tell the people who are watching this, who are not really that familiar with 8-bit fiction, what 8-bit fiction is and what went into
Oh,
its birth?
okay. Well, really, the beginning of 8-Bit Fiction was really just Sunshine. So there's three of us. I'm Moonshine. Sunshine is the one who makes all the visuals. And 10 years ago, it was really just play. He just saw, oh, why don't I put these lines on these screen caps? And it was really simple back
Yeah.
then. It was really just screen caps of games he liked to play. And then eventually he started
Mm.
collaging them, like on paint. Like literally, he would make his art on paint. And then
Mm.
it just grew from there. It became a little bit more complex later on. But yeah, so it just
Yeah.
grew from there.
You mean Microsoft
Yeah,
Paint as
paint,
in
Microsoft Paint. Yeah,
the
yeah, that's
oh
what
I,
we used to
wow,
use.
all
Yeah.
right, that's interesting. All right, and it just really like it just happened naturally. Like you guys just really thought of like let's just put this out there, see what
Yeah,
happens.
like no real intention for it to grow the way it has now. It was really just like, all right, let's put it out there. And then we started on Tumblr, um, and then it grew.
Okay, yeah,
So Tumblr, then Twitter, then Facebook. It just grew from there. Yeah.
all right, yeah. Thank you. Well, thank you for sharing that. But okay, going into the 10 years that you guys have been online, none of you have ever publicly shown your face until you have like
Yep.
recently. So, can you tell us how you came to that decision to go public with your identity,
Oh, wow.
which led to the birth of the
Okay.
Moonrise series?
Well, it was really connected to what was happening in the world. Here, okay, where we are in the Philippines, we
Yeah.
went into basically lockdown, or what we call as the ECQ, because of the virus. And as one, I live alone, so I was alone
Mm.
in that.
Yeah.
I started spending a lot of time alone. And two, I'm a
Mm-hmm.
psychologist, so I really saw the spike in anxiety in my clients and my friends. It's and
Yep.
in myself too. Okay, I
Mm.
observed that I saw the other feelings that were really very strong because of what was happening in the world, how it was being handled,
Mm.
anger, um, anger, sadness, and all some other things. Like lots of people found it hard to sleep. Lots of people found it
Mm.
hard to be motivated to keep doing things. So I found that at that point, I don't know. It just kind of hit me that I wanted to do something. I felt like,
Mm.
oh, if I don't do anything now, it would be an absolute one, like an absolute disregard for the sense of responsibility that I felt. And I thought it was an absolute waste of the platform because
Mm.
I know, like, a lot of we do look at what our followers are going through. And so it's like, oh, everybody's going through this. And I knew I had something to contribute more than just the
Mm.
lines more than just the usual stuff we put out. But the thing is, we've also been planning on making more material anyway. It was really just a perfect time. Like, I couldn't wait anymore. So I was just like, let's just do it. I'll just do videos and just like, minimal editing. Let's put it out there because people need to hear these things. And so, there.
Mm. And I have to say, like, I've watched all your videos, and
Really?
it's
You
very
watched
helpful,
it
very
all?
insightful. Yes, I do my research. But yeah, I watch all the videos. A lot of it has been very helpful. And as you mentioned, you've been seeing a lot of like this anxiety or like strong feelings spike up in your friends and your clients. Like me, because I am technically like one of your friends and clients, so I have been there. I have felt also, because I also lived alone, and there was a lot of feelings that came into that, and also like just the added stress of the world, our current situation, and also on top like the normal
Mm.
stresses of every day. Because like some of us still go to work, or some of us don't have
Yeah.
work, and I have to say that you really like explain it beautifully in Moonrise, which I have to tell everyone watching now, please do check that out. Yeah, but before we go into that, for the people who are watching this and don't know yet, and I actually mentioned this earlier in the live, you're actually a registered clinical psychologist. So, what made you like? What got you into the field of psychology? What called you to it?
Oh, wow. You're asking me my life story, basically. Uh, oh, wow. Okay.
They're not gonna know
Yeah.
your name, so it's fine.
Well, I grew up basically just in a whole, like my family was all about service to the country and help service to the people, etc.
Mm.
So actually, I thought I was going to be a lawyer.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to be a doctor or a
Mm.
lawyer, typical uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
that girl who wants to be a doctor or a lawyer. So I entered college thinking I would, with a course, okay, that could be pre-med or pre-law.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that was psychology, like BS psychology. But
Yeah.
after 1 year of science courses, I was like, I don't think I want to be a doctor. And so I dropped the science courses. And then after another year, I think I took up economics. I was just like, I don't think I want to be a lawyer. But the thing is, that same year, I started taking my psych subjects. And yeah, it was really just like, I was just at home with it. And I
Mm-hmm.
was fascinated by all these theories and all these ways of beginning to understand people, what makes people like this, how do they turn into that, what can help us understand
Mm-hmm.
why they do certain things or what creates certain behaviors. Yeah, so I mean, I was in second year college when I decided I wanted to be a
Mm.
psychologist, and that
Yeah.
was a long time ago. Um, but yeah,
We're gonna say how long that was, but So you went from psychology to economics, then back to psychology. Is that
oh
what
no, no,
you
I
did?
entered college. My course was psychology. It's just when I took economics, the class, I was just like, I don't think I want to take up. I don't think I'm gonna go
Yeah.
into law.
Oh, right.
Yeah, yeah.
All
So
right.
I dropped the
All right.
doctor lawyer thing
All
and
right.
said I wanted to be a psychologist. That's how I'll help people and the country.
Well, that's cool because like you went into your course. Well, you went into it like wanting to be a lawyer,
Yeah.
a doctor, and then you suddenly like felt the urge to help people, which is really very admiring, if I have to say so. Um, we're getting some questions. So again, guys who are watching this, if you have any questions about mental health or anything, just jump into the comments if you have. But right now we have one from Triple F
Mhm.
Falgi. So good evening, JD and Moonshine. May I ask if Moonshine has any tips on maintaining the work life balance for those working at
All
home?
right.
Thank you.
Great,
Do you have
great
any tips for
question.
like work life balance?
Um, I suggest stick to your schedule. Because right now, the boundaries and the structures that you used to help us maintain work life balance are not there. And I know this personally. My
Mm-hmm.
bedroom is my office. And so that
Mm-hmm.
actually creates a bit of confusion, like even physically, like for those who may are having problems with sleeping, it could be because the space that you occupy where you are active and awake is also the place where you now are supposed to sleep, and your body gets confused, like, what mode am I supposed to be in? So a few tips.
Yeah.
Like, you can create these boundaries and structures for yourself, even if you only have one space. What do I mean by that? So that's what I mean when I say create a
Mm-hmm.
schedule. Make sure all your work is just within, okay, those hours, and then drop it after that. Um, Purposefully, like, oh, you can even do
Yeah.
what I call like our transition rituals, like
Mm-hmm.
like for example, this is my desk. This is where I work, but after that, I
Yeah.
will purposefully say work's done. What I will do is I will put away my work things. Like, I will put them out of the way. That's my
Mm-hmm.
way of saying, that's my
Yeah.
going home. Because there's no going home now, right?
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, so
Yeah.
I put
That's true.
away the work things, and then I start playing music. Okay? And that's my transitioning
Mm-hmm.
into I am now at home. So that there is some
Mm-hmm.
psychological transition that happens. Say, or like set
Yeah.
space. Okay, don't work anywhere in your room. Just work here, and then the
Mm-hmm.
rest of the room is
Yeah.
home. Okay, and so your
Yeah.
transition ritual is moving away from that space that is your workspace. Okay, and I know it sounds
Yeah.
like a little dumb, but you know, these little tricks, these little tricks help us um, get out of that work mode and into something more relaxed, into something more, comfortable. Because yeah, we do need to get into
Mm-hmm.
that work mode when we're working. We need to pay attention. We need to be alert and be all problem solving. And then we need to get out of that so that we can
Yeah.
get out of that state, the man rest state. So there, two things: schedule
Yeah.
and
That is
space, and transition rituals.
that is a great tip. That is a great tip. I in my in my own case, like after work's done, I just put on a video game and then all right, stop everything first. Give me an hour, and then that's when I can transition. But yeah, like guys, that is a really great tip. I hope Triple F got some ideas from that. We got another question from at Pretty Bad Juju. Can you
Are you
explain
gonna
to
pretend
us?
we don't know her? Are you gonna pretend you don't know her? Okay.
I'm gonna pretend. Can you explain to us how to hold your feelings? And yeah, like wait, I lost. Can you explain to us the importance of holding your feelings and what that
Oh,
means?
okay. Holding your feelings. Okay, I'm not gonna pretend I don't know Pretty Bad Juju. Pretty Bad Juju is one of my closest friends, and I know exactly what she means. Okay, that's what she's asking, and so what I'll talk about is the idea of, or the practice of, knowing your feelings. Okay, what does that mean? Knowing your feelings,
Mm-hmm.
and then for a moment, not doing anything about it. Okay, because usually,
Yeah.
like, if you think about life or what happens to you, it's usually like something happens and then you do something, right? It's stimuli and then
Yeah.
reaction. But
Yeah.
sometimes when we do that, or often, very often, when we just react to things, what happens if it's just a reaction? it's kind of like it's a hit or miss,
Mm.
isn't it? It's a hit or miss. What
Yeah.
outcome comes out of that is something you like or don't like. So the idea of holding your feelings
Mm.
means that before it's trying to get into the practice of understanding what's happening to you first before acting. And one way to do that, there
Mm.
are many ways to do this. If people who are listening are interested, you can just go and read about mindfulness exercises. It's really about creating a space between whatever stimuli that's around us, and that's everything around us, and our response to it.
Mm-hmm.
But holding your feelings means taking a step back, okay? Meaning not
Mm-hmm.
acting. Okay? Taking a step back and giving
Yeah.
yourself a moment to identify, to get to know, identify, observe your feelings first. And this is actually the topic of the last video I put up. But the short of it is naming your feelings. Okay, so and really the only way you're gonna be able to do that is if you stop and ask, okay, what do I feel? Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Which we
Yeah.
don't do
Yeah.
at all,
We don't.
right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so it takes practice to be able to do that, to step back, and just like, okay, what am I feeling? So one is to name it,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't have to be like, not everybody can put a word to all the feelings, okay? So maybe it does mean expanding your vocabulary a little bit, okay? Or finding ways to describe it. Like it doesn't have to be
Mm.
specific or correct. Okay, there's no correct there.
Yeah.
All that matters is that you are able to express what it is. So if the way you describe
Mm.
your feeling is like, it feels like I'm a rubber duck that got squashed. Okay, that's what you felt. Okay,
Yeah.
so that means you took a moment to try to
Mm.
just be there with your feeling, and this is how you describe it. All right.
Mm.
And when you do that,
Mm.
what happens is you didn't act on it. You took a moment to understand what it was and what you felt, and that already means that you weren't reactive. That already
Mm-hmm.
gives you a space to think about it first, feel it first, hold it first before you go ahead and just do something
Mm.
about it. That's what it means,
Yeah.
to hold your feelings.
Okay. I have a yeah. I have a follow-up question to that though. What if the situation arises that the stimuli needs you to give like an answer or like a response right away? That so much so that you can't really like take the time to hold those feelings and then figure it out what it is. Like what do you do in that kind of
Okay.
situation?
Well, our system is such that we're actually built to try to protect ourselves. Okay, so when you say
Yeah.
stimuli that needs immediate action, I'm understanding that this means an emergency situation. Okay,
Yeah.
so if it really is an emergency situation, for example, you got physically hurt, okay, or there is a
Mm.
fire alarm. Okay? Your instincts are gonna kick in actually, and you're just gonna go into automatic mode. And automatic mode is always, what do I need to do for my survival? So that's actually
Mm-hmm.
something very different from, for example, the two things emergency situations I said. If you got physically hurt, or like there's an
Mm-hmm.
emergency, right? But thing is,
Yeah.
very often, what actually is in front of us are not emergencies. Like it's
Okay.
not a life or death
Okay.
situation. So to me, as long as it's not a life or
Mm.
death situation, it would really help for you to step back. Even if, for example, it means you have to break the conversation, right? Better to break the
Yeah.
conversation,
Mm.
or let and you're in the heat of the argument and you just say, wait, I need to step back and figure out my feelings, right? Why not? It makes it,
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe the worst is you're gonna look like a coward or something. But the thing is, it actually if you are able to step away from that, that actually shows how much more control you have, how much more
Mm-hmm.
how much seriously you are taking it seriously. Therefore, I step back and try to, because you want to give the best possible response, and there's no way you can give that if you
Yeah.
just blurt it out like a muzzle spasm. You know, it's not a purposive action, it's
Yeah.
just a jerk. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I think in
That's
the greater scheme of
okay.
things, in the greater scheme of what actually happens to us humans, it is really more advantageous to be able to step back and think about it, hold some space first, than to just
Mm.
react. Our instincts will kick in definitely if it's an emergency situation. Okay, but okay, sorry, one
Okay.
more thing. Okay,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
with practice, if you do keep practicing this whole holding your feelings thing, you can get to a point where it will be very easy to pinpoint your feelings. So you could actually, in a
Mm-hmm.
split second, understand that I am angry and I am angry that you are telling me this. And I think you're just coming from a point of aggression, and that's not productive at this point. So can we my response
Mm.
to your aggression is not aggression, because I know that's not productive. I mean,
Mm.
but I'm not saying that's easy, but if you keep practicing holding your
Mm. Yeah.
feelings and understanding your feelings, you can eventually get to a point where you can do that even in a short period if you only have this much to respond. But you need
Mm.
practice. You need to continually cultivate that skill. Yeah.
Mm. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that very informative answer. We have another fan question from at Matt the Artist Official. What can you do if you're having an anxiety attack aside from working out or exercising? Yeah. So what can you do if you're having an anxiety attack besides like physical activity to try to let it out? Is what he's
Oh,
asking
okay.
right now.
So I'm assuming that that works. Does that work for you? Okay. Yeah.
I
All
guess it
right.
worked for him, but like maybe other he's looking for other tips if like you're having an
Okay.
anxiety attack.
So to answer this question, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to go into a bit of like more nerdy talk. Or I'm not sorry. I'm not
Go
sorry at
ahead.
all. But thing is,
Know me, know me.
anxiety is not something that just happens when you have an anxiety attack. Okay? The thing we have to understand about
Mhm.
anxiety is it's related to. It's kind of like, I like to think of anxiety as like a tank. Okay, and it's a tank that gets
Okay.
filled up when we by stress. And anxiety is when it's so
Yeah.
full it'll overflow. That's when an anxiety attack is.
Okay.
Okay? Panic, anxiety,
Mm-hmm.
it overflows. So we gotta think of how we can be aware. One, we have to be aware of how much how filled our tank is. If we
Yeah.
learn to have some awareness, for example, by learning how we feel, by becoming more sensitive about how we feel, holding your feelings, etc.,
Mm-hmm.
then we will be able to gauge if, oh, am I getting near that point where I will have a panic attack or an anxiety attack.
Mm-hmm.
And when we start to know that, we can do things to lessen the level so that we never reach that point.
Yeah.
So that we never have to reach that point
Mm.
where we overflow. So my suggestion is,
Okay.
if working out or what's the other thing he asked? If working out is something that helps you
Well, yeah.
manage the overflow, that's good. Okay, but even better is if you have awareness of how full your tank is and ways to let out some of that stress even before it gets full. So kind of like
Mm.
at 50%, you're like, maybe I can bring it down to 40. Okay, by, I don't
Yeah.
know, doing this breathing exercise. Or maybe I can bring it down to 40 by looking at pictures of dogs. Okay. right?
Mm.
If it's at 75,
Yeah.
I'm like, maybe I shouldn't go near my triggers when I'm at 75. Maybe I should purposefully step back
Yeah.
and minimize my triggers first until it goes back down to say 50. Because at 50 I can take some of
Mm.
my triggers, but at 75 I can't.
Yeah.
Right. So so
Mm.
I guess my answer is developing a sense of awareness as to your capacity to hold stress, which is really developing an awareness of your own emotions. Just tying it back
Mm.
to that one. That's how you manage
Yeah.
anxiety attacks. But that's how you manage anxiety, period. So you never. So again, I'm saying this not like it's easy. Okay, it takes practice. It takes commitment to try to do that. But in the long run, that's how it works. Yeah,
Mm. Yeah. It's more. It's like a prevention is
yeah,
better than the
yeah.
cure kind of thing. Yeah. Right. Thank you for that answer. We have another question from my tag team partner at Deacon Warren. So, how can you approach a friend that's depressed to show you care, and you're starting to get affected as you feel like ang haba nito. As you wait lang. How can you approach a friend that's depressed to show you care, and you're starting to get affected as you feel like you're not being helpful? So I think he wants to show his friend, his depressed friend, that he cares, but also at the same time, it's starting to get to him that he feels like he's not being helpful because it's not like it feels like it's not
Okay.
working. I think.
All right. Um, a thing that I do and I really like to remember as a psychologist, okay, and as a friend, okay,
Mm,
and this is something I've learned from my clients, is that um, some lessons are really hard to learn, okay? And what do I mean by that? When you help someone, okay, it's really important. It's really, and for people who are depressed, that even if they don't may not express it, even if they may not see it at that point, it's really important that there's someone there. Okay, that there's someone who
mm,
shows that they're there, that they care, etc. So one, give yourself some validation that you are doing that purposefully, and two, remember that for a person who is depressed, this is a new lesson. It's like, oh,
mm,
I am worth caring about. Oh, I am worth this person's attention. But
mm,
that's not an easy lesson to learn. Okay, why do I keep saying the word lesson?
mm,
It's because that's how I remind myself that it's okay that I keep repeating things. Right? Like when you go to
yeah,
class, okay, this is my example because I'm also a teacher. Okay, when I go to class, just because
yeah,
I say it once in class doesn't mean they learned it. No, I have to say it, I have to flash it, I have to discuss it. They have to go home and read the
mm-hmm,
text. They have to ask me questions. They have to talk
yeah,
about it amongst themselves. They have to answer the test. Okay, and all these repetitions
mm-hmm,
are what helps a person learn. So if you find that you're being
yeah,
repetitive, that's okay. That's really the process of learning. And learning is not reserved
mm-hmm,
for information. Even things like that I am worth care, I have value in being myself. Sometimes these are hard lessons to learn and hard things to hear. So don't be discouraged if it feels like this person isn't hearing or it's not sinking in
yeah,
or it sinks in sometimes, but other times it doesn't. The repetition is part of the
yeah,
learning, and so just go do it, right? And remember that
mm,
it 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 matters, right? Like if a teacher, teachers who just shut down questions, they suck,
mm.
right? So
Yeah,
what's important is that the lesson keeps on being given until it is learned. Yeah, there.
yeah, yeah. That is a good point. I understand where Ken's coming from because I've also been like in that spot where I was a friend trying to help someone who was like sad or depressed, and then it keeps happening and happening. It wasn't until I watched your episode on Moonrise about, I think I forgot which episode it was, but it was one of them where you mentioned this, the
Yeah.
exact thing where it's repetition, it won't be taken in right away. So that's what I have to keep telling myself, that it's not me.
Yeah.
I'm not the problem. It's
Yeah.
not that they don't listen to me. They're not the
Yeah.
problem either. It's not that they don't listen to me. It's just that these are hard lessons that
Yeah.
we all have to learn. And the best thing that we as people who are helping is just to be there and
Yeah.
let them know that we're there. And hopefully that they'll learn later on. So yeah, thank you for that was a great question from Ken, and thank you also for that wonderful answer. We have another question. Sorry, I know we said this was going to be like wrestling and mental health, but this
Yeah.
is all mental
Yeah.
health
It's
because I
alright.
really want. No, it's great. It's great for me because like I still truly believe that mental health isn't really something that we talk about a lot. So yeah, please guys, keep the questions coming. We can talk about wrestling. Wrestling's gonna come. Wrestling's gonna be here all weekend, all year. But like, I want to keep talking about mental health because this is like really helping everyone who can't speak. So we're going on to more questions. So from at regular P, hello Moonshine. I often have trouble overcoming low self-esteem. I was wondering if you could share any advice on that subject.
Oh, okay. You know, I know it's very cliche, and but self-love, okay? Self-love and learning to know what is good in you also takes practice, right? And people who, I mean, I'm not just talking about you. This is a guess about you, but in my experience with my clients and with myself, the things in myself that I feel insecure about, okay? These are things
Mm.
that I in my own processing of myself, because you know psychologists have their own problems, and so they have to process themselves, or with other
Yeah.
people. So
Yeah.
in my own processing, I realized that, and I learned that the things that I felt insecure about were lessons that I also learned from the past. Okay, so one question I always ask my
Yeah.
clients is, who taught you that? Who taught you to look at yourself that way? What if, and if once you realize that, oh, I wasn't always like this. Okay, even if it happened when you were young, right? Someone taught you that, hey, you can't dance. You're clumsy,
Mm.
right? Um, and
Mm.
then
Yeah.
this is me. I always felt insecure that I couldn't dance, I couldn't move, that I was awkward. Okay, and then I realized at one point, when I thought about it, that, oh no, it was because of that one experience when I was a kid. And actually, before that experience, I liked to dance. And it was, and
Mm. Yeah.
once I realized that, I started working on unlearning that lesson by telling myself, hey, it's okay. Hey, it's okay. If you want to dance, dance. If you want to move, move. If you want to express yourself this way, go ahead, express yourself this way. It's okay. So that practice, okay, of learning to say, hey, it's okay. Do it. There's nothing wrong
Mm.
with what you want to do. Okay. Eventually,
Yeah.
that helped me get over it and start to appreciate that, hey, I like to dance. Let's go out dancing. um,
Yeah.
and not be shy when I do that, and not be so self-conscious. But it came from that internal practice of telling myself it was okay, right? So by telling myself
Mm.
repeatedly, again, this is not something I learned overnight. Probably something, okay, if I remember when I learned that, probably it took me about 2 years, okay, to be able to dance without being drunk.
Mm.
um, but yeah, so it is that repetition of that internal,
Mm.
more positive talk, more encouraging talk that allows you to get past that. Okay? But yeah, you have to learn
Mm.
to recognize it, that that
Yeah.
I learned this lesson somewhere. I feel like this about myself because of that. And now I can reverse that by telling myself what I need to hear, which is, hey, you're okay. You can dance. It doesn't matter.
Mm.
It doesn't matter if you're clumsy, actually. Who cares? You like it.
Mhm.
Yeah. So you kind of be your
Yeah.
own cheerleader.
exactly.
inside your head. Yeah,
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Thank you for that answer. And it's pretty much the same as wrestling because when we started out, we didn't know shit, and it took a lot of like just our own self, like just go out there and have fun, and just as long as you're having fun and not hurting anyone else, just do it. So I can actually talk about like because we've been talking about a lot about repetition and practice. It's really the same, technically, the way how you work on your self-esteem and how you work through your mental health. It's a lot like professional wrestling because it takes a lot of training, a lot of like repetition also. So I'm going into like a
Yeah.
segue just to talk a little about wrestling. So I don't think a lot of people know this, but you've been to a couple of
Yep.
PWR shows. So as a psychologist, watching Philippine Wrestling Revolution, watching wrestling for the first time, what went into your mind seeing these wrestlers, larger than life personalities, technically hurting themselves in that ring? What came into your mind?
Ooh, what came into my mind? Well, the thing that attracted me to it actually was that what did I say? It's like theater, but it only happens once, and there are people, and there are stunts, and I was just like, oh, okay, so it's
Yeah.
like a circus. um, um, but really observing one, because I knew that to get to that point of doing that meant commitment. So it was obvious to me
Mm.
that I was sitting here watching people who were committed. And I knew that it took a lot of practice, a lot of training to get to that point where you could launch yourself off the corner and, do
Yeah.
stuff. And so I admired that because, yeah, like
Mm.
so many things in life and in psychology and in mental health needs that kind of commitment. And so
Mm.
whenever I see that, it's like, oh, wow, that's cool. And two,
Mm.
the personas were really very, very. I think this is just true. Like psychologists will always think this way. It's like, whoa, what does the persona you
Mm.
made for yourself is always something that is very telling. It is very telling of who you are, and all of that. So that is what I was thinking while I was watching the very
Yeah.
different characters come out, and it's that's what makes it very funny for me. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. You touched on being like us being very committed, but also on the other side of things, like being so committed, putting everything into that one thing that you have that passion, there is a big chance for
yeah, yeah.
burnout. So, do you have any tips on like how to like make sure that you don't burn out or like you counterbalance that burnout? Do you have any tips on that? Because like I know you also work with a lot of athletes, like volleyball teams, for example, and I'm not sure like what the main differences are between an athlete, like a top athlete's mind versus like a not athlete mind. But I just wanted to get like some ideas on like how to
Okay.
alleviate burnout.
I find that with people who, when working with performance, okay, whether it's athletes or top management and corporations, um,
Mm.
the biggest thing you have to deal with is that voice in your head that keeps pushing you. Okay? And that's tricky to
Mm.
deal with
Yeah.
because that voice in your head that has pushed you to get to where you are, to this point of being able to perform at this
Mm.
level. But if that voice becomes too critical and is not kind and compassionate, then that is something that's
Mm.
going to burn you out. Because it's all going to be about exertion
Mm.
and exertion and exertion. And there's nothing wrong with exertion, but if it's all exertion and no receptivity, no receiving anything, no,
Mm.
it's like eating. if you never eat, you're not going to be
Yeah.
able to live. So if there's no input, it's all
Yeah.
output, output, output. Of course, you're going to burn out.
Yeah.
So what I find is that that's the most important thing is to balance out that push with
Mm.
kindness to self. And by that
Yeah.
I mean it's really balanced because you want that push, but you don't want it to be a whip, right? You want
Yeah.
a carrot and not a whip.
Yeah. Yeah.
so so and I don't know, I think culturally the whole idea of the carrot is something new. We all grew up with a whip,
Mm.
but the whip can only get you
Yeah.
so far. After that, you're gonna have to find the carrot. There.
Yep. Makes
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense. Thank you for that answer. We got another question. Oh, that's a pretty heavy question. I'll get to that later. But we have a question from Ken again. So I've always wondered, where do psychologists go to when they're the ones having self doubts and
Other
problems?
psychologists.
Like this is a good,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's a good question.
Can the wait actually? Yeah.
Like,
We as just a follow up, like, can the friendship of fellow psychologists be a barrier to how to help treat your own issues, or that's not a problem in your line? I don't really understand that question, but like
okay.
the first part of the question, like, where do psychologists go when
Like,
they have
I've
problems?
gone to therapy. I go to therapy myself. So there have been times in my life where,
Hmm.
I mean, it is an advantage to be friends with other psychologists. If this is true.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty bad juju would know being a friend to a psychologist. Okay. But it's the same. I go to my friends who are psychologists to help me
Hmm.
process my own stuff. But I do have to recognize that, and I have recognized that there were certain parts in my life where I needed to go to a professional, and I knew.
Hmm.
Although this professional is actually also my friend, but I went to them and said I want formal therapy. So there's informal and then formal
Hmm.
therapy. And as far as if the friendship becomes a barrier, we have it. It's just we're trained to go into these modes anyway. Like we call
Hmm.
in my circles, we call them hats. So are you wearing a friend hat or are you
Hmm.
wearing a therapy hat? Sometimes I ask them to wear a therapy hat for me, and then they will be
Hmm.
therapist. And then I say, okay, enough of
Yeah.
that. No more. Just be my friend. Just let me rant, okay?
Okay.
Don't tell me. Don't you don't have to process me. Just let me
Okay.
like throw up. You know, let's just get drunk. Okay, so
Yeah.
sometimes we do that. Sometimes we just do the friend thing. We just get drunk and cry. Sometimes we do the therapist thing where we process ourselves as each other as we know how. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. All right. Yep. So we're thank you for that answer. We're actually coming up almost on an hour, so I'm gonna have one last question from the fans that are watching, the audience is watching, and this one's pretty heavy. So this is gonna be the last question out of all the audience members who are watching. Thank you again for watching, everyone. Before we get into the next segment, so this is from Pretty Bad Juju. It's pretty interesting. So can you explain to us what depression is, what it affects, and the healthy way it can be addressed by those who experience it and those who
Okay.
witness it?
All right. What is depression? Okay. So it's easy to Google the definition of depression, so I'm not going to explain depression in this way. Okay? Maybe I'll explain depression in the
Mm,
way that helps me as a practitioner understand it the most. And that's not the Google definition or the DSM-5 definition. Okay? What I
mm,
understand depression to be is, the fight, flight, freeze instincts. Okay.
yeah, yeah,
Whenever there is a threat, okay, we have this evolutionary urge that just kicks in where we either get aggressive, we fight, we want to run away, okay, flight, or we don't know what to do, so we're just deer in headlights, we don't do anything, freeze.
Yeah.
Depression is an extreme form of this. Okay? It is like an instinct kicking in.
Yeah.
And this really is something that helps me understand and helps me explain to other people. People who are depressed, especially when they're in the episode, can't help it that they're doing these things. Okay? That's why they need help. Because it is instinctual. Okay? What can help us understand, and what eventually in therapy I get to a point where we can talk about this, is the recognition that what you might be responding to in this instinctual way is not a threat. Okay? So,
Mm.
and that's a hard lesson. And it's not easy to hear. In fact, I'm saying it now
Yeah.
and it makes me very awkward to say it like that. That sometimes we react in this way to things we don't have to react to in that way. So people who are depressed
Mm.
react to certain triggers like it's the end of the world, right? Like it's an emergency life death situation. But eventually, through
Mm.
help, through training, okay, uh, they learn to rewire that response. Okay, that's kind of like
Yeah.
the broad explanation. So, how are we supposed to react and treat people who are depressed? One, it's to understand and
Mm.
respect what it is. Okay? A big barrier to people with depression getting help, or people who try to help depressed people who have depression, is the minimizing it, treating it like it's not real. The stigma that,
Mm.
oh, like, they're having a hard time, asking, why are you having a hard time? It's so simple. Okay. And they're like, thing is,
Yeah.
they can know it, but their bodies and their whole system is reacting like it's not simple,
Yeah.
precisely because it is just that instinctual tick that puts them into this either aggressive state. Some people show depression through aggression.
Mm.
The flight state, they run away from things, or free state, they're lethargic, they withdraw, they don't do anything. So to remember that this is not on purpose. Okay, they may understand that it's not a proportionate response, but it's instinctual, so it's kind of like wired that way, and unwiring that and rewiring that takes a lot of work. And that's where
Mm.
mental health professionals come in, because and also friends and family and society in general. Okay? So because if this understanding of this state is more accepted, then all the people are more likely to get help. Okay? And when people get help, they feel less, they become, it's much easier to go through the process of rewiring that. Okay? And again, maybe
Yeah.
just to tie back to the questions that have been answered, because I think all the answers up to this point still relate to the whole, this is why knowing your emotions and acknowledging your emotions and holding them is very important. Because if we don't ever get to that point, how are we ever going to get to the point where we acknowledge that, oh, this emotion is really heavy and it's really hard and I need help? Okay, because that's usually the start of
Yeah.
knowing that you're depressed anyway and getting help for it.
Mm.
If we who are not depressed or are not in our depressed episodes get frustrated and give up on our friends who need to hear that reassurance and repetition of the lesson that, hey, even if you are going through this really difficult time where your head's not on properly, it's okay, I'm here, you're still worth this attention, you're still worth this help, you can get help. That encouragement and
Mm.
even just that acknowledgement that what you're going through is something real and that you can get help for it and get support for it. That's really important, because if that's not there, it's gonna be a really difficult process. So
Mm.
depression is real. Okay, we have to understand it for what it is. That it is kind of like a glitch. Okay, but that doesn't mean that it
Yeah.
can't be fixed. Okay? In fact, I cringe at the word fix. Okay, that doesn't mean you can't make it work. Right? That doesn't mean you're crazy. Okay, it's just your
Yeah.
brain is working in this way. It's trying to protect you actually, but it's we can find a better way of doing that. Okay, that's where mental health professionals come in, or other good practices. You know, I don't know. Some people go to spirituality, whatever it is that will make it better for you. So we need to be able to encourage people to go there, to those things that can help them, and we can do that by acknowledging that it's real and being that repetitive voice saying, hey, it's all right, you can talk to me, I'm here, um, you know, don't beat yourself down for it, etc. Whatever it is that we're telling our friends who are going through this. There.
And I think it goes without saying also that if you want to deal with depression or being the friend that helps your friends deal with depression, again, it might take a lot of repetition and practice. So with everything, with our feelings and everything. And thank you very much for that answer. So now, since that was a lot to take in, so we'll get into like a lighter thing. So this next segment, before we end, because we're winding down, it's called Whiplash. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna flash some cards with words on them, and what I want you to do is like maybe give a 30-second or a minute answer on each of them. Just say whatever comes
Okay.
to your mind
All
when you
right.
see this word. Are
This
you
called
ready?
free association.
Yeah.
Okay.
The science, I don't know what term it is, but anyway, we'll start. The first word is anxiety.
Oh, what comes into my head when I see the word anxiety?
Yeah, or like if you have anything to say about
Oh,
anxiety.
okay. Anxiety is actually something that's quite normal and something that a lot of us feel. It's just a matter of recognizing it and learning to
Hmm.
not let it get away, you know, and build up too much. Learning to pull it back and just like,
Yeah.
okay, what are you telling me? Is there something wrong? Is there something I need to plan? Is there something I need to prepare for? All right, and then it can be healthy for you. Yeah.
All right. Next word is Moonrise, the series. Do you have anything
Oh
to say
yeah, it's
about
over
that?
there at YouTube. So just search 8-bit fiction and go watch it. Well, it's really like it's kind of like my current events segment where every week I kind of reflect on what my friends have been going through, what my clients have been going through. It's just a feel of what's happening in the world also, and then I say something about it. And yeah, it's a lot of
Right.
this talk like this. So if you found you like this and you like that content, so go ahead and check it out.
Yes. Everyone, check it out on YouTube. 8-bit fiction. Next one is you talked a lot about this a lot, so it's
Ooh,
self compassion.
self-compassion. Okay. Self-compassion is something that I cannot stress the importance of. Um, we are connected, we're in our bodies, and, we spend the most time with ourselves, really, but we don't know how to be nice to ourselves, how to be understanding
Hmm.
of ourselves, and how to give ourselves love. So practicing self-compassion, which is taking the time to understand yourself, to help yourself, to love yourself. This is a practice that I cannot stress how important it is. Because if you can't give it to yourself, the person that you're closest to, that you're with all the time, how are you going to be able to give it to anybody else? So start with that, and
Hmm.
then
Yeah.
actually once you are able to give yourself that real compassion, it will just flow from you. You will start giving it to other people because that becomes who you are.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Just to let you know, also, we're coming up on an hour. So if the feed cuts, I'm just gonna start a new live, and then please just jump in because I want to end this like
Okay.
on a good note. So yeah. All right. Moving on to the next card, Lord of the Rings.
Oh, ask me anything. What's your question? No, this is like this is my if I want to show off, I'll start talking about Lord of the Rings. Oh, okay. I read the books first when I was 8 years old, and I read it every year until I was 18. So I've read it at least 10 times.
What?
All of them. The Hobbit, Lord
Dang.
of the Rings. The Silmarillion, probably a bit less.
Shows how smart you are by reading it at 8 years old. We're back. Thank you again for joining. Yes, we went an hour talking about mental health, a little bit about wrestling, but more on mental health, and I'm so happy about that. Wait, let me just spin this comment. All right. So we're down to the last card for Whiplash, so let's just get into it. The last word is 8-bit fiction.
Oh yeah, I have to say about 8-bit fiction. Well, 8-bit fiction is finally this part of my life that I am willing to openly embrace, and that's why I'm here. That's why I show my face, and we have a lot of things coming up. Yeah, we have a lot of content that's up online. I mean, a lot of free stuff on. Well, as usual, all our stuff are still on Twitter and Facebook, but if you're interested in knowing what else we have, you can go to 8bitfiction.com. A lot of the stuff I've written, okay, like longer stuff I've written is over there. Other stuff written by the other two, okay, there's Star Baby, and of course stories, more stories, books actually. Some of our books are there. There is a members part, but that's free, and then there's a subscription part, but it's like I think it's like $88 a month, where all our books are available. All our not weird fiction things that are not books but are art and stories. I don't know. We do a lot of experimentation there, so it's really fun for us. And if you're interested in that kind of thing, it's over there. But it's really about what 8-bit fiction is about. It's just a bunch of people who want to experience life and want to write about it and want to help other people, get to this point of, just living as authentically as we can. And that's through this, talking about mental health, talking about our own experiences, and showing it through art. And if that's something you're interested in, go ahead and look at any of our stuff. Our website, Twitter, Facebook.
Yeah. So everyone who is watching this, if you want to check out more of 8-bit fiction stuff, they have a Facebook, they have a Twitter, 8bitfiction.com, and that is the end of Whiplash. So thank you very much, Moonshine, for that. Just before you leave us, because again we're winding down, I have one last question for you, and it is: in all of your years as a psychologist, what is the biggest lesson that you learned that you would like to pass on to others? Whether it's about mental health or just about life in general, what is that one lesson that you want to leave to everyone?
At the end of the day, the most important thing is to learn to live authentically. Like, that's just it. So the question is always, how do I live more authentically or most authentically? And what does that even mean? So I know that sounds very philosophical, but really, that's what, my practice of psychology is. That's what therapy is. Therapy is sitting in a room and us talking about how can we make you most who you are. So it's really just about that. And I'm not saying that's an easy process, but when you find and that's what's most fascinating, and probably why, even if it is not an easy thing, I'm still doing this. I think I will do this forever, because seeing people get to that point where it's like, oh, this is me, this is who I am, and this is what I want to live, and this is why I'll make these decisions, and this is why I'll not make these decisions. This is why I'll do this action and not that action. Seeing that and seeing people get to that point where they can do that and they can just be themselves is so rewarding, and that encourages me to keep doing it for myself too. So that's the biggest lesson, and I think that's a lesson I'll keep on trying to say, keep on helping people to try to get to, and that's a big part of why, again, I'm doing this with 8-bit fiction.
And thank you very much for that. Thank you very much for helping everyone. You've helped me. You've helped a lot of people. try to get where they need to be. And honestly, we need more people like you in this world. And again, Moonshine, thank you very much for joining us tonight on hashtag PWG Live. We talked a lot about mental health, and I'm just so happy right now that we are getting to talk to you, and we are reaching. No matter how many people are watching this, at least when we put this out, we are trying to reach as many people as we can, just just to get it out there. Trying to stop the stigma of this thing. And again, thank you for your time. We hope you have a good night. We hope that you please stay safe. Keep washing your hands. Keep your mental health in check, because we know you're a psychologist, but we also care about you and love you. And just make sure that we also want you to stay safe. So again, Moonshine, thank you very much for joining us, guys. If you want to check out more of her stuff, it's on YouTube. The Moonrise series is on 8-Bit Fiction's YouTube channel. They have a Twitter, they have a Facebook, 8bitfiction.com. Do you have any parting words you want to say?
Hi, and thank you also to everyone. I'm reading the comments and like, thank you for having me. And yeah, I think this is important. It's funny. I kind of wish we could talk. we could talk more about wrestling, because I was also like, yeah, it's all about wrestling, and like,
we can have another episode. Yeah. We can have another episode for that. So you can come back as a guest, and we'll talk more about wrestling there. But thank you again so much, Moonshine, and we will see you around. And please stay safe and have a good night.
All right, you too. All right, bye.
All right, bye. All right, that was a great episode. Oh man, we talked a lot about mental health. Ken, I need you to join me right now so that we can finish this off. We will thank her later, privately. Where's Ken? There you go. Finish off the Lord of the Rings story. Yo,
yeah,
what's up?
it's all good, but like it got cut off earlier, man. She didn't finish the Lord of the Rings story.
The one where she read it since she was 8, and then
she was about to say something that didn't come out.
Well,
it's always room for next episode.
We can have her back again. We haven't had like a 2-time guest yet, so everyone's joining in. But yeah, what did you think of that episode, Ken? I know we said we were going to talk about wrestling and mental health, but it was more of a mental health episode. Not that I'm complaining, but yeah, what did you think about it?
Everyone tuning in tonight needed it, honestly. I needed it. Like, like there are things that you just put off because you've been so busy, or at least this is not the topic at hand. This was a very meaningful, for lack of a better term, episode. I know I say that stuff a lot because, but it's true. It's very meaningful. You can apply all the things she said in everyday life, especially what not to pat my own self on the back, but like my question, the answer to my question was like repetition. It's just those people that you just need a reminder of what you need to do, or you just need to hear it from someone else, but you already know what to do. Stuff like that is what gets to me. It's what reminds me, what reignites my fire. Why I started caring in the first place for some cases. And it's just I needed it. That's all I can say with that. I needed this episode. I love the realization. I love the feeling that this was like a therapy session on its own. But it's in a public setup, so that's something different. But it's great. It's great.
Yeah. I'm glad that you got something out of it, because like I've been to therapy with Moonshine for a lot of sessions, and like seeing how she's been wanting to like bring this out for a while now. Like she's been doing the Moonrise series for 6 or 7 weeks already, and that was a big surprise because 8-Bit Fiction never showed their faces. And then she felt it was her responsibility to like talk about this, because like our world is very problematic right now, and it's not that we don't have our own problems to deal with. On top of that, we also have like a lot of other issues that the world is going through right now, with racism, with the coronavirus pandemic that we all have to deal with and see, on top of having our own problems. So again, it's not being selfish if you also feel that your problems are important. It's just about you care about yourself too. This is what she tells me. You care about yourself too. But at the same time, you can also care about many different things. It's not always just, oh, you only care about this, oh, you only care about that. we care about a lot of things. That's what makes us human, and it doesn't make you any less human if you like focus on the thing that's worrying you right now, or if you're worrying about the things that are happening in the world. We're all worrying about something, and that is why I have to ask everyone who's watching this, 9 people that are watching this right now, please try to go out and do something good, or if you're not ready to do something good, just take care of yourself and be kind to yourself so that you can also be kind to others later on.
Absolutely. And
So
just
this is really,
mindfulness,
yeah,
man, right? Just mindfulness. That you know, do you believe in those
mindfulness.
saying like when someone flashes a picture and whatever words you see, that's what struck to you the most? Well, in my case, what I heard or what I remember from the guesting. So like that's number one, mindfulness, repetition,
Hmm.
and just authenticity with, who you are,
Yeah.
your real self. So yeah, bro. I needed it. I'm freaking stressed from work, man. I'm not afraid to admit that. I am. I am.
I'm glad that you got something out of it. I'm hoping that everyone who watched this got something out of it also. I'm really excited. Like I really want to have Moonshine back for another episode to talk more about this because we had a lot of questions that are very like just to help people through. But Ken, we taken a lot of time from these people. Now we got to end this. So again, thank you everyone for watching this. Thank you for everyone who sounded off in the comment section. I see Dr. Gore still commenting,
About
but we
drug
gotta
habit.
we gotta tell people what's happening, what's up. So tomorrow, first off, we have hashtag Clear Homecoming. It's dropping tomorrow, May 31, 3 p.m. Again, go to streamsessions.live. Check out the pinned comment. Relive the biggest show in Philippine wrestling history as for only 500 pesos. It's less than a pizza. That's what I have to say. But it's 2 or 3 Starbucks drinks. So if you want to support Philippine wrestling and watch Philippine wrestling for what it is and enjoy it, please do so. Also, we have you tomorrow we have a lot of pre-shows tomorrow. Tomorrow we have hashtag PWG Live with Zicky Dice from the National Wrestling Alliance, the current NWA TV champion, at 11 a.m. So again, amigos and amigas, it's 11 a.m. Philippine time. I don't know. I forgot
8
what time it
p.m.
is in
California time.
8 p.m. in California time. We also have the hashtag Peter Homecoming pre-show, courtesy of Peter Wrestling from Home with beautiful Billy Swade at 2 p.m. So that's an hour before Homecoming drops. Ken, do you have anything else that we can plug? Of course, we still have that. We still have our partnership with Ticketme.net. So if you buy a hashtag Peter Mabuhay ang wrestling shirt, part of the proceeds go to our frontliners fighting COVID-19. Do you have anything else to add, amigo?
Yeah, I just want you to clarify because you're good at this, man. Just clarify how do the people need to, or how do the people purchase the pay-per-view for tomorrow? I believe you
So,
know the rules.
so tomorrow, it's the link to purchasing the pay-per-view is actually on streamsessions.live. So you just go to streamsessions.live. There's a link up there to buy your ticket. So buy that ticket, and then I think you get a code so that you can watch Peter Homecoming. So can you still use that code to watch again? I believe so. There are rules actually. Go to Peter's Facebook page. There's an FAQ over there. If you need to understand anything, please go there. And then again, we just ask everyone to please support Philippine wrestling. Watch Peter Homecoming because this is like our biggest show to date, and this is like the best way to show everyone, not just in the Philippines, but like everyone in the world, what Philippine wrestling is all about.
Absolutely, and that's the best setup for hashtag John Cena Saturday, bro. That's the best setup.
Exactly. I almost forgot about John Cena Saturday because we
Right?
talk a lot about mental health. But thank you for the reminder.
Yeah,
John
absolutely.
Cena Saturdays. This is going to be a long episode. I'm going to have a hard time editing this, but I don't care.
You
We
got
talked
this.
about a lot of good things.
It's important.
Exactly. So John Cena Saturday, May 28th, 2020. Love yourself and also put effort into the world around you. You have value, and so does the rest of this great planet. So again, going back to mental health, if you love yourself, if you practice and repeat, loving yourself, knowing your feelings, and being kind to yourself, it'll be easier to be kind to other people and the rest of the world. And that is it for John Cena Saturdays. Ken, we gotta also thank Carl, for all of his great work again. The Carl,
He's here,
is he
somewhere
around?
here.
Like,
He's somewhere here. Where
yeah.
are you, the Carl? My little brother. He's here, in spirit. He's here.
All right. And then, Ken, that was a great episode. That was a great ending, according to Dr. Gore. There's only one more thing that we have to say.
Yo, can hashtag that. Good evening, y'all.
Good night, amigos, amigas. We will see you all tomorrow.